Hello and welcome to the You Are the Magic podcast. My name is Kylie James and I am your host. And today I'm talking with the wonderful Rachel. Hi Rachel, how are you going?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Oh, yay. Rachel and I met, oh gosh, it would be about a year and a half ago, I think, something like that,
Yeah.
where I came out and did one of your breathwork experiences out at Nudgee Beach in Brisbane.
Yes. Oh my God, has it actually been that long?
I think so. Yeah, early last year, I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. You're right. Wow.
yeah. And then you've gone on a bit of a journey since then, since we first met. Did you want to share a little bit about like who you are and what your journey's about?
Yeah. Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Rach. So, like Kylie said, I do breathwork as the main modality that I offer. But really, the main thing that I love to do is to support women in remembering their own magic, which I think is perfect for this podcast. So
Absolutely.
I for myself personally, had really lost my own magic. Throughout my life, didn't really know who I was and didn't know how to choose myself, didn't know how to regulate my own emotions. And then teaching and breath work. And I say this all the time that like doing breath was the first time that I actually felt primal rage and actually got to like scream and yell and express myself and was like, oh, whoa, okay, this is what being in your body feels like. And it's been kind of a ripple effect from there of going, okay, I really want to bring this to the wider community. And yeah, have now been offering one-on-one journeys and group circles and all sorts of amazing different modalities for the past 2.5 years now. So it's been a lot of fun, a lot of up and down moments, but all really, really worth it.
Yeah. Can you firstly, because some people will have heard about breathwork and
Mm.
are like, yep, no worries, and other people won't have. And, can you just give a little bit of a brief sort of introduction to what breathwork is? And it's not just about breathing, there's a lot more to it,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, something I get a lot by people who are a little bit like unsure about it is like, well, I breathe all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you do, but most people aren't really breathing properly or effectively. So what breath work is itself is becoming conscious of the breath. So you can consciously manipulate the breath to either allow yourself to become more calm and present, or another way, which is what we did together, is more activating breaths. So it's in through the mouth, out through the mouth, or there's other ways that you can do it to get up stuck emotions, stagnant energy, move things in the body. And like I said, get out primal rage or sadness or laughter or whatever it is to then become more of yourself and be connected to more of who you are.
And you just feel so much lighter
Oh,
afterwards because there's just this massive release of, like you say, whatever emotion it is. It
mm,
feels like sometimes it feels like a big weight has been lifted off your shoulders or just
mm,
really out of your body. So it's
mhm.
a fantastic experience to do. And
Yeah.
how did all of that, you've mentioned breath work and other modalities
Mm.
help you when you first started? Like you said that was the first time, you know, primal rage really showed up in your world. But why
Mm.
is that? And sort of can you share a little bit more about, that part of your journey?
Yeah, so I was a nurse. I was nursing for 16 years prior to finding breathwork and yoga. And I really, I really was disconnected from myself. I was very much living in my head. I have described what I had as anxiety, chronic anxiety, and like bouts of depression. So I would go through phases of just being really low in mood, not wanting to get out of bed, just exhausted. And I can see now, like I couldn't see it at the time, but looking back, I can tell that it was because I wasn't living in my truth. I wasn't able to articulate what I needed. I wasn't able to speak up for myself. Like there were so many things that I was repressing and squashing down that by finding, yoga was really the first thing that I came across. I decided to do my yoga teacher training actually for myself because I wanted to learn more about like the philosophy of it. And yeah, it was going to be my own little personal thing. And then I ended up teaching it for, it's been 3 years now that I've been teaching yoga for. So that was the first thing where I was like, oh, there is more to life than what I'm doing. I started questioning reality. I started questioning the relationship I was in. Like everything changed from doing my yoga teacher training. That was during COVID. And then everything felt like it turned to shit after that. Like my
That would have been
marriage
a big
ended.
time for you as a nurse. That would have been a
Yeah, well,
very
that
big
was
time.
happening. My marriage ended. I then from there decided to move interstate. I was living in Melbourne, so I moved to Brisbane. I changed my job, so I quit nursing when I moved up here. Discovered breath. And so, like I said to you, when I discovered breath, that is when life really, really shifted because I felt that rage. I then started feeling other things. Like I remember saying to someone, it was the first time I was like, I could really feel my legs.
Yeah.
I know that's a really weird thing to say, but when you've been disconnected from your body for so long, and then all of a sudden going like, oh, I can really feel like every part of my leg, it was just the most bizarre
No,
feeling.
I totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very powerful. So I hope that answered your question. I feel like I went on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah,
No,
that's what
lots
kind
of
of led me
change. Yeah.
to it.
Lots
Yeah.
of change and lots of, I mean, big events that,
Mm,
sometimes when you're trying to work through those big events, it's
mm,
what can help us. And I guess to know that there's, obviously you can go to a counselor or a coach and those sorts of things, but there's also other modalities out there that really support you, such as breath work and, there's things
mm.
like sound healing and yoga, etc., that can actually really help you when you're going through the journey. And it's not just,
Yes.
I guess the normal avenues that we see in everyday society and
Mm.
life. So yeah,
Totally. Like I'd gone to a psychologist for 10 years plus and got so much out of it. And at the same time, I realized I'd had enough of talking. It's like I can't do any more talking. So that's why breathwork has been so transformative for me personally, because it's been a beautiful way of not having to explain what I was feeling,
yeah,
not having to relive the experience. And that's what I love about doing those breathwork journeys is like you don't have to talk about what happened. You just have that feeling and then you process whatever it was through your body, not through your words. So it's so incredibly powerful. And alongside with psychology, like I'm never going to say that like don't do counseling or psychology or anything like that because it's very powerful. And to me, breath takes you on a different pathway or a little different journey that maybe you wouldn't have been able to get to with the other modalities.
yeah. And I know I've done breathwork quite a number of times since
Mm.
you and I first
Ah,
connected.
cool.
Um, and even the things that come up in breathwork,
Mm.
they come out of nowhere. You don't even
Yep.
know, and because sometimes you actually remember the experiences as you're going through the breath
Yes.
work.
Yes.
Um, and you don't have to, like you say, you don't have to verbalize them, but just to recognize, oh, that's what was kind of underneath
Uh-huh.
everything.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's been magical just to even see some of those old stories, old beliefs,
Yeah.
old self doubt, all of those sorts of things that it it I guess raises, but then allows you to move through it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's the beauty of it, right? Like you are essentially moving through whatever's coming up during the session, then integrating it as well at the end with like more of the calming breaths. Like it's just, yeah, I I love it.
yeah, yeah. And what sort of like people come to you? Like what is it? they've got a problem and they want it solved, or is it just they just want to feel better in themselves, or like,
Mm-hmm.
what do your clients normally come to you about? And you don't have to share specifics, but just a
Mm.
bit of an idea so listeners could sort of understand you know, what
Look,
might sort of resonate with them.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's the women that I've been seeing this year in particular have actually, oddly enough, been practitioners themselves. So a lot of women in the healing space who are wanting to come to just release or get back into their body, or have a space created for them so they can give back to themselves. There's been a lot of that. I have also seen a lot of women who are disconnected from, or feel disconnected from their magic and want to reconnect to their intuition, or someone who has been stuck in their head, for example, and wants to get back into their body. So there's lots of different reasons that women do come and get a breathwork session. It just depends. I really love to have a good chat with someone and just say, like, where are you at? And meeting them there, because there's no cookie cutter for exactly where, like, it's not like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. It's like, where are you at? And let's meet you where you're at.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because
Mhm.
there doesn't have to be anything really. It just could be, I want to feel better. I want to feel
Exactly.
more connected. There doesn't have to be a big problem and I need to be, I'm broken and I need to be fixed or anything like that. It's just, for me, it's often I want more. I
Oh,
just want more. I want more out of life. I want more happiness, more, fulfillment, more
I
satisfaction. Yeah,
Oh my God, I actually love that you're saying this, because this is something that has been unraveling within myself recently, which is that, like, no one is broken, no one actually needs fixing. Everybody is already whole, and all this modality is doing is just reminding you of that wholeness, moving out, I like to say, like, the debris that, potentially is stuck in from old, outdated, beliefs, or whatever you like, you said before, outdated limiting beliefs or decisions or whatever it might be. So really, it is just a remembrance of wholeness.
absolutely. Yeah,
Mm.
and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful way of taking time out for yourself and just breathing, really, like, but
Yeah.
properly breathing, like feeling like you've got space. It's, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love
Now,
that.
now I want to ask you a question, because I was reading whether it would be an email that you sent through, or maybe it was a post on your social media.
Mhm.
And I think the headline might have been, I see dead people. Can we talk about this? Now, I know a little bit of the backstory here, but our listeners may not. Uh, and I see dead people. Well, that's just a bit curious, isn't it? So I know this is one of your superpowers. Can you share a
Oh,
little bit with us about this and sort of the journey that you've been on as
yeah.
you've stepped into this?
Yes. Look, to be honest with you, I may have done that for a little bit of, like, clickbait to, like, get people's attention.
Absolutely, but it works. Hey, it
It
works.
it works. So I've been a medium since I was a kid. So I would say my earliest memory of seeing dead people has been around 4 years old, when I literally woke up during the night and saw a man at the end of my bed, sort of reaching out and wanting to give me a hug. But being 4 years old, I really freaked out and was like, I don't know who this person is. So I, like, hid under the covers and looked back and he'd gone. So that's my earliest memory. And then from there, I have had some interesting experiences. So in my 20s, it really, really flared up. Like, I was seeing people, especially at nighttime. I would wake up during the night and there would just be either someone at the end of my bed. One particular one, I remember there was this man in a wedding dress. I woke up and he was, like, standing at the end of the bed, and he saw me and freaked out and was like, "Ah!" and jumped under the bed. And
Oh God.
my ex, my partner at the time, he I freaked out. There's someone under the bed. At that point, he knew that that was, like, this is a thing that happened, and he kindly looked under the bed for me and was like, "There's no one there, you're fine." And it was getting quite frequent. It would happen quite a lot during my nursing shifts, where, patients were coming to me with their experiences, and it was getting too much. So I asked my mum's best friend, who is very open to this sort of stuff, like, what do I do? Because I can't deal with this at the moment. And she was like, oh, you can just tell them to go away. And so I did. And that, I like looking back, really did cut myself off from my own magic in that time because they didn't come back in that way ever again.
Yeah.
In fact, they still haven't come back in that way.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting. So that was my mid-20s and then all the way, so I'm 38 now, and it wasn't until really last year that I started to tune back into all of this stuff. So it was still happening over that 10 to 11-year period in different ways, but then I did a course with you, NLP, and that is where I was like, oh, this is something I need to share with the world. Why am I hiding this? Like, it's nothing to be scared of. I really need to, it's a gift. Like, I need to share it. So, yeah, since then, I've been offering medium readings and have been connecting people to their loved ones who have passed away. It's been so fun. I get like messages that come through. So they'll like talk to me. I can hear messages, or they'll show me things. It's more internal pictures now. So if I close my eyes, they'll show me a picture. Or I get feelings, so I can feel them touching me. Or yeah, there's different ways that they communicate with me, but it's so powerful, and like I love being that gateway connection to people, like connecting people together.
What do I guess when when people talk about this, sometimes some people believe and some people don't,
Totally.
and that's okay. It's there's no right or wrong there. It's just
Mm.
wherever you sit on that spectrum. What do people come? Do they come like? I guess I'm curious. Like, what's a session like? I guess is probably more so. Like you say, you might see pictures or you might see a feeling or everything, but do people come and say, I want you to connect in with my dad who passed away a year ago or something like that? Like, what do people sort of ask?
Yeah, it's different each time. So I've had some people who want to connect in specifically with a loved one who's passed away, and they will say, like, I had a woman recently who was like, my mum passed away, I really want to connect in with her. So then I know that okay, she definitely wants to connect in with her mum. And then that way I know that it's going to be them that comes through. Other times people come in as a blank slate, they actually don't say anything. And then I just say, okay, well, we're going to let it see what happens. Let's just, let's let it move as it needs to. So generally the sessions go for around 45 minutes. And I usually allow, so when I say allow, like usually around two people will come through. It just depends on the situation, on who's passed away, on who wants to connect in. And yeah, so it's very intuitive, and each time is completely different.
Yeah, this is I love the idea of it and the do you know what I mean? Like to be able to communicate to someone who maybe you didn't get to say goodbye to, or maybe you didn't know because they were generations before, but you've,
Yes.
heard a lot about them. Like,
Yes.
this is such a gift to give people
Mm,
if you're ready and open for it.
absolutely. Like I had a lady I did a reading for a few months ago now, and so I had no idea. She didn't give me any context. But what it was ended up being her mum that came through. But what I got was she didn't tell me who it was. This person didn't was ashamed of what, like there was a disconnect between them. And so the messages that I was receiving, because sometimes they'll give me a feeling, and I was like, oh my God, I can just feel so much shame and so much sadness, and they're sorry. So she knew exactly who was talking to her, but I had no idea. So I was just conveying this message of this person. And then she messaged me afterwards, being like, oh my God, thank you so much. That was my mum. I've been wanting her to say sorry to me, and I didn't get her to, I didn't get an apology from her, and she died. And it was really intense. So she was really grateful to have received that message. And I'm actually glad that she didn't tell me that she wanted to speak to her mum, because sometimes, when someone says something, it can cloud what comes through. So I do like to have that, like, don't tell me minimal things, because then it's going to be, it's a clear message that comes through.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would just be an incredible experience for someone who it allows them to move forward if they get the message that they need to hear. Like that's just an incredible gift.
100%. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's a joy to do. Like it's something that comes so naturally to me, so it doesn't even feel like I'm really doing anything, but to the other person receiving it, it's such a big huge shift, or a big, aha moment for them. So it's yeah, I'm really grateful that I have this gift.
How has it been for you to remember your gift or to step forward saying, I don't have to hide this gift anymore? Because that, as much as you're giving a gift to everybody else, you're also, by what you're doing, you've given a gift to yourself as well.
Mm.
How,
Mm.
how has that been? I guess, just to, I guess, take a step back, you and I spoke prior to the course that we did last year,
Mm.
and you said, "Oh, I think the way you were feeling was, I feel like I still need to hide this. I can't, step out and really do this." And then,
Yeah.
obviously, after that, you have since done that. Like, what's that process been, or what's that feeling been like for you?
Mm. Yeah, great question. I guess the momentum of finishing prac, because, NLP is a very high energy container where it's like you're so expanded. So coming out of that, I already had the momentum there to be like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. It felt scary to begin with, because you don't know how people are going to receive it. This concept is what I like to say, woo, so people can be a bit funny about it. So I just trusted that the right people were going to resonate with it, and started off just sharing my own personal story on my social media, and it was actually so well received by people. They were like, "Oh my God, I've had this experience," or like, "Oh my, someone that I knew had this experience." Like it was so well received, that I just was like, "Okay, well, this feels like it just I need to keep doing it." So it's almost like there was this initial little like uncomfortable feeling, and then with the momentum of, being in that container, it was like I need to go for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And my other question is, can anyone do this? Or do you have to have a special gift? Do you know what I mean? Like, and how can people, I guess, tap into this part of them, which I suspect for most people is hidden. Um, yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah,
Yes, I love this question. This is so cool. So, yes, of course, anyone has access to this. Anyone is able to tune into what I like to call, or what people call, the clear senses. So they're the ones that, are what people can't perceive with the natural eye or ears or feeling. Yes, it's available to absolutely anyone. I guess it comes down to whether you want to. Because for some people they don't want to. And I get that, because it's unknown, and the unknown can be a little bit, a little bit scary to people. So, excuse me, that is something that I do work with a lot of women, is tapping back into that intuition, tapping back into being able to relax the body enough to trust the messages that come through, because that's really what it is. It is about trusting. And I want to give you a really good example of that through a reading that I did
yeah,
at the start of the year. So I did a reading with this woman who had lost her sister. I didn't know that this had happened. And all of a sudden, I had this sensation wash over me to put my hand out. And my logical brain was like, "What is happening? This doesn't make any sense to me." And I had to put my hand out to to the side. I'm like, logically, I was like, "This is just ridiculous." And I said to the woman who I was giving the reading to, I'm like, "I'm just trusting whatever's coming through now, because I don't know." All of a sudden, I felt something drop into my hand, and I was like, "It's an apple. She's given me an apple." And then I I was like, no, hang on, she's given, oh, it's a perfume shaped, like an apple shaped perfume bottle. And the woman started to cry. And I was like, what? Like, I don't understand what this is. And she was like, my sister used to wear a perfume that was, the bottle was shaped like an apple. And I went, oh my God. Oh, what she's telling me is that she wants you to buy that again and spray it on something so that you guys are still like, you can still feel connected
Such
to
a
each other.
connection to each other.
And so,
Yeah.
if I had let my logical mind get in the way, I wouldn't have let that come through because to me that did not make any sense, but to her it made perfect sense. So it's about getting out of your own way with doing these kind of things. And really, if you wanted to do a simple practice for yourself of connecting into someone who had passed away, it's kind of like going into a meditative state. So you would connect to the breath, do some slow breathing techniques and just tune in. Ask yourself, like, is there anybody there? Or maybe have someone in mind that you want to connect with, so that then you have a goal. Whoever may have passed away, I want to connect in with my nan or whoever it might be. And then just wait. That's usually what I do. I connect to the breath, I tune in, I ask if there's anybody there who wants to come through, and I wait. And then eventually somebody will come in. So it's just, I don't know how else to describe it, but that
Yeah.
is available to anyone if you are open and willing, I guess, to tune into it.
And I think that's the key, is like being open
Yeah.
and ready to receive the messages that you need to hear at that particular time. Because
Totally. And you know,
yeah,
really honestly, like most of the time when I'm doing these readings, every person that I speak to, or most people I speak to, are like, oh, I already knew this. It's just a confirmation. Like you already have all the answers within yourself. Sometimes it's just nice to hear them externally from you, right? So
yeah,
it is like you can do it yourself, and then, having that person there to kind of validate the experience or give you that little nudge to be like, yep, you're on the right path is powerful.
yeah. And sometimes you just, like you say, it is scary. So sometimes you just want someone to hold your hand through the process
Totally.
and know that it's a safe experience. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think there's so many movies that portray this sort of stuff as really scary and like, oh, what if I get a demon or, like, something scary. I like that is not even in my awareness. To me, I'm on that people who are got like, who are their family members are going to come through, and that's all that's ever happened. So there's nothing to be scared of unless you're focusing on that.
yeah. And generally, the people who are passed, they generally want to send messages because they love, care,
Mhm.
want to give you support, want to protect you, want to keep you
Exactly.
safe. So they're really kind messages that can come through. And sometimes they're a big nudge because maybe you are heading in a direction that, a U-turn would be helpful.
Yes.
And, you might have already missed a few nudges along the way, so maybe they need to give you a little bit of a
Yeah,
bigger
exactly.
nudge.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I think that's great as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it's better
Yeah.
than the Mack truck coming to hit you in the
Yeah,
in the face if you're
exactly.
ignoring the messages.
Absolutely, absolutely. I absolutely love chatting with you, Rach. It's just such a joy. I've loved meeting you. I've
Mm.
loved getting to know you. I've loved watching your journey over the last, 18 months. It's
Oh,
just
thank
been
you.
an absolute joy.
Ah,
And
thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming on to the podcast and sharing your gifts with us.
Ah.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to, mention or share with the listeners?
Well, firstly, thank you so much. It's honestly been a joy to get to know you a little bit more, and you're just such a warm and welcoming human being. So I'm just so grateful to have been on the podcast and to be in your presence is just, yeah, it's a gift. And No, I feel like we've covered so much.
We've covered a
For such
lot in a
a short
short amount of
time.
time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, we have. We have. Um, so then I have one final question for you. And one is, okay, people might have listened to this podcast and gone, "Oh, this is intriguing for me. I'm a bit
Mm,
curious. What can I
mm,
do?" Or maybe they've listened to other podcasts and said, "Okay, I'm ready to make a change and I don't know how. I don't know what the first step is." What would
mm,
be, based on your experience of obviously your transformation, but also the fact that you take other women on, a transformation journey as well,
mm.
what would be your one piece of advice where people can start?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many little nuggets that I could share. I guess the main thing that I want to share with listeners is that, like, trust yourself, trust the nudges, the whispers, the not so big, the nudges, the big
Yep.
punches. Like, trust the path. Let it unfold. And I really love that, and I'm not gonna say it perfectly, but the Rumi quote of, like, as you walk the path appears. So, you know, don't wait for something to be presented to you. Allow yourself to walk the path, and as you continue to walk the path, it will continue to appear in front of you. Like, just take the steps. Do the things that scare you, because generally the things that scare you are going to be the things that actually lead to the biggest transformation anyway. So I know that was a few different pieces of advice rolled into one, but yeah, just like
Links beautifully.
take those steps.
Yeah, absolutely links beautifully. So
Mm,
it's fantastic advice, and I know that deeply resonates with me. And I
mm,
know that's the approach that I take most of the time. And often when I
mm.
don't, that's when my when I get a bit anxious or I feel
Yep,
really nervous or something like that, and it's just I'm not trusting myself. I'm not trusting that I've got this and I can do
exactly.
this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
it's so,
yeah,
so true. It's
yeah,
not to say that you're always going to have it figured out, or that it's
yeah,
the road is going to be perfect, because I think that, like, perfection itself is an illusion. So it's like, let the path be messy. Let the bricks that you're laying down be, like, a little bit cobbled, or like like,
yes,
let the
yes,
path be windy,
yeah,
and maybe some of it's made of dirt, maybe some of it's made of brick, maybe some of it's made of gold. Like, let the path just unwind and unfold as it needs to, and all
yeah,
of it's perfect.
yeah. I always say let the wobbles come. Like, if you feel the wobbles, allow them to come, figure out
Yeah,
what they mean, but and don't let them stop you from taking that next step, though.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's beautiful.
Oh, so beautiful. To our
Yay!
listeners, I hope you got so much out of this beautiful podcast conversation. It's been an absolute joy. Where can listeners find you, Rach? Is it on Instagram? Is that the best place?
Yeah, that's where I'm sort of most active. So my Instagram is restorative underscore Rach underscore. So that's my business name. Yeah, I would say that's the best place to come and find me. It's got all of the details of all the things.
Oh, perfect, perfect. I will pop that in the show notes in the
Awesome.
podcast as well. Reach out to Rach if you want to experience any breath work or have a reading, or
Yes.
just have a general chat.
Yes.
And Rach also has a podcast as well. So do you want to share a little bit about your podcast
Oh,
that you've
thank
been doing
you.
as well?
Yeah, so it's called Choosing Woo. So it's, very similar. I love that we're, like, so aligned in that. So it's really about a play on words of choosing yourself and choosing the magic of life, uh, how the magic unfolds when you continually choose yourself. And so I do a mixture of solo episodes and interviews with different women who are continually choosing themselves as well. So yeah,
Ah, look at this. This is why we're friends and why we're connected is
I
that,
know.
yeah, there's more of this needed in the world is my thoughts. And
100%.
Yeah, I just love that we're both heading in this direction and that we're getting to share our magic with the world.
Yes, yes. Well, more women doing that is like the better, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming on the show. To
Thank
our
you for having
listeners,
me.
thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And remember, you are the magic. You've got everything already that you need inside of you. And I will see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.